I'm Evelyn, 24 years old, office worker. I have fiancé who is a year older than me, working same office. I have a sister, Mary, who is 3 years older than me and married. I live with my parent in their house. My parents, especially my mom, doted on Mary. There were differences in affection from our parents between my sister and me. If anything, my father loves my sister more. He still cares and loves me too. I wanted to leave the parents' house soon, so I wanted to live with my fiancé, but for some reason, my mother wouldn't let me. My sister started to live with her husband way before they got married, so I was wondering why can't I? Then I realized that my mother just wanted to give me a hard time and to do housework. That's my mom, but she has professional double face. I witnessed when my fiancé came over. First, I thought my mother would give all kinds of malicious act, but she didn't. That's only because his father is executive director at major enterprise, and after my fiancé built experience in his current job, he will start working in his father's company. He completely bought my mother's Oscar-winning caring great mother act. I couldn't talk anything about her evil act to him. Mary always looked down on me. She always referred to differences in parents' expression of love between us, and she makes fun of me in all ways. Mary persisted she is superior to me for every existing situation. I was fed up with it. Mary married to a man who is 2 years older than her, working at famous manufacturer. Her husband had high-paying job. But when she found out my fiancé will be working in his father's enterprise in the future, she stopped talking about her husband. She came over to parents' house almost every day. I don't know what Mary and my mother, 2 housewives, are doing. When I came home from work, they don't say anything, but they looked me a pitying glance. "Evelyn, are you saving money for your future?" Mary asked. "Yeah, some." "In the bank?" "I withdrew all to keep in the safe to calculate for expenses, like down payment for wedding and all." "I see. Just Mom was saying there was money in the safe, or something." "Yeah, just for temporary." I wondered why she asked me that. It was a starting point of much ado. Both families share for my wedding expenses. However, his family was eager to do the ceremony, so his family agreed to pay more. My fiancé and I will pay for a deposit. When Mary got married, her husband's family paid more too. It must be great relief for common household like us. A month later, Mary came into the parents' house as usual, but this time, she had new car. At beginning, I thought her husband bought it for her, but this time, it was whole different story. "Evelyn, did you see my car?" "Yeah, I did." "That Mom bought for me." I was very surprised. Honestly, I couldn't think of where the money come from. The car itself is not big, but it costs around $30,000 if it's new. Actually, I was impressed with my mother's unreasoning love to Mary. The first was shocked my mother even bought a car for Mary. "See, good for you, Mary." "Thank Evelyn for that," said my mother. "Why thank me for?" I didn't understand what my mother was talking about. They were smiling at me in very mean ways. "I bought it with your money." "What?" "I really thank you, Evelyn." I was so confused because I couldn't understand what they are talking about. $30,000 in the safe. I used to buy that car for Mary. I believed that was money for your wedding, but it doesn't matter because we are family, right? My mother looked at me with her sinister face. "You are sassy to have that much money anyway." Well, but it's all gone now. That's not my money, and neither for the wedding. What? Suddenly, my mother got serious. Even now, remembering her face, it makes me laugh. Mary looked stupefied next to my mother. I finished organizing my expenses and put money back to the bank already. And $30,000? I haven't saved that much yet. My mother looked at me suspiciously. Dad said he hasn't withdrawn money for the wedding yet, so whatever that money in the safe must be for other reason. My mother and Mary looked at each other, looking for some possible information. Then, whose money was that? I'm not sure exactly whose money it was. My mother thought it was my bluff, so she had fearless smile on her face sign. I said I wasn't sure, but previously when I used the safe, I saw there was an envelope written $30,000 on it. That means it was not my money. Anyway, I thank you, Evelyn. Mary, you good take care of your car. It's completely wrong to spend money that belongs to someone else without permission. They totally misunderstood and created their own story. But later my mother would regret that she made a huge mistake. Mary went home driving her car, and my mother went for shopping. I stayed in the living room, thinking unstoppably how I could move out from this house as soon as possible. My mother and Mary never congratulated me for the wedding. When Mary told my mother about she's getting married, my mother cried for happiness. And at the same time, they forced me to give $1,000 wedding money gift. My mother was happily checking progress for the wedding, looking at pictures of wedding hall in all gaiety. On the other hand, she had really cold and blatantly disgusting attitude when she saw the quotation for my wedding, even though it was much less expensive compared to Mary's luxurious, expensive ones. I was often told brag about Mary's husband. Every time she made sarcastic remarks like Evelyn never can find a good man, or anything you can think of that big sister shouldn't say to her siblings. I concentrated on my work to get them back one day, overcame all, and met my fiancé. He works at same office, and he is brilliant. As I mentioned earlier, he is promised to work with his father's enterprise. He gets well paid because our current workplace is subcontractor receiving orders from his father's enterprise. Anyway, it is promised that he will be working on his father's enterprise. Current workplace also thinks if they teach and take good care of him, it will lead to good business relationships. At beginning, when Mary find out that my fiancé is my coworker, she looked down and said, "You guys are two of kind." But after I explained what he will be, she just shut her mouth. Maybe because his father's enterprise is bigger than her husband's. Mary's looking down attitude is never changed since she was elementary school. My parents spoiled Mary too much. They bought any toys that she wanted without questioning. There were a lot of sibling discrimination. My father couldn't stand it and he played with me. But Mary tried to manipulate him, trying to make him distant from me. I really hated her. Mary is outgoing, lively girl. Me, not introverted, but quiet. I always couldn't be myself watching my parents' favorable treatment to Mary. My mother thought I always had attitude. That interpretation is not wrong in a way, but her personality as a mother is completely wrong. 1 week after Mary showed off her new car, that usual two was chilling in living room, and I was in my room minding own business. My father slammed open the door and ran down the stairs rapidly. He was yelling something, so I went down to see what's going on. He was questioning my mother and Mary alternately. It was there for sure. Well, like how? How? In the envelope. Evelyn, did you open the safe lately? Nope. Only when you opened for me last time. Mary was completely shaken up and kept glancing outside. There it was, her brand new car. Evelyn, do you know anything? She looked at me with shocked face. Do not say anything was written on her face. Well, Mom and Mary know very well exactly what's happened. What are you saying? What are you talking about? It's nothing to do with me. They revealed to me where the money from and go by themselves. I was amazed watching them playing dumb. How about that? I pointed her beautiful brand new car. No way! It couldn't be. It was gift. From who? Well, from Mom. Well, that. My mother's face turned pale every second. Mary seemed she just wanted to go away. I have never seen them like that in my life. That money was Evelyn's, right? I already said that I gave her money back. And what is all Evelyn's money about? Money we saved for Evelyn. It hasn't withdrawn yet. What are you saying? If the money was supposed to Evelyn's, are you saying you will use as you like? That's... My mother kept glancing at Mary, but Mary was avoiding it with her full effort. My mother must have been shocked to see Mary's real personality. That money was for renovation, for accessible to your mother. What? Really? I knew that for a while. My mother has been asking my father that she wants to bring Grandma to live with her. She always said she wants to take care of Grandma in this house, because Grandma looked depressed after Grandpa died few years ago. My father's side grannies have their children other than my father in close by, so no worries about them so far. But my mother's side, she is only child and Grandma is alone. So to bring Grandma to live in this house, some renovations were needed to be done. $30,000 was for the renovations. My mother misunderstood the money was mine. What are you gonna do about it? We already talked about renovations too, right? Yes. We already made a contact. Renovations will start next month. My father asked her heatedly, and my mother was panicked and her eyes were filled with tears. Mary kept acting she has nothing to do with it. We got to cancel renovations. No! That means your mother can't live with us. You gotta explain to her what happened. Can't you do something about it? My father slammed the table and yelled. Bullshit! You do something about it. We must sell the car. Wait a minute. That's not fair. Then, can't you help even a little? You got to help me. I can't ask my husband that. No more honeymoon for my mother and Mary. My father was looking at them with amazed face. My mother seemed more panicking because of her mistakes. She can't bring her own mother to live with. Mary, as usual, tried to convince my father that she has nothing to do with it, but he didn't buy that in this time. Obviously, all money was spent on brand new car parked outside. But you must allow my mother to come live with us. You said you'd take care of her. What now? It's all your fault. That's great your parents has someone to take care of them, but my mother, she is all alone. It's true that Grandma lives far from here. But my mother was snapping back at my father. That made my father more angry. They started big fight. The amount of money is big too. But my father didn't anything wrong.
If you want to live with your mother, you have to take responsibility of what you did. What you did is same as stealing.
When my father said that, she gave up and looked down. My father told to Mary, since she knew where the money came from to buy her car, she is equally guilty as her mother. Of course, Mary snapped back at my father right away. My father has let Mary do whatever she pleases for a very long time, but not this time.
Wait, I know, that's Evelyn's fault. She made us confused.
My father didn't know what else to do with Mary's never learning excuses. She never gives up giving hard time to me.
If that money's supposed to belong to Evelyn, it still doesn't allow you to spend as you like. I didn't do anything wrong. It's all Evelyn's fault. Marrying to a man with bright future ahead? He is just spoiled with his daddy's connection.
I have been put up with my sister's cruel treatment, but this time I couldn't stand it anymore.
His parents are crazy too. Spoiling way too much. Shut up, you little spoiled greedy hellcat.
Mary, my mother, and even my father were surprised to see me getting angry that much.
You called me greedy hellcat. Mom bought the car for you, but you didn't stood up for her. You just care only yourself, not to face any responsibility.
My anger was so strong that Mary had to back off a few steps from me.
And let me tell you that your husband's biggest client is my fiancé's father's enterprise. And he is executive director of the company.
She was so surprised that I thought she will faint. I haven't told anybody about it, and her husband hasn't noticed yet.
Your husband working so hard to do business with my future in-law. Poor him, what's gonna happen if I tattle to future in-law? No! Please don't!
Mary was about to cry. Well, how this story ended. My father gave my mother 3 options. 1. Live with grandma without doing renovations. 2. Do renovations with her savings. 3. Grandma continue living alone. My father gave her 1 week to decide. My mother spent whole week depressingly thinking what to do. One day, I noticed there was her bank account book on the table in the living room. I looked it, and most likely the amount was all her saving. It was far from the amount you need for renovations. She must have been thinking that she has to give up living with grandma. I consulted one idea to my father. At beginning, he was so surprised that I brought the ideas because I was going to be a victim of their act. He accepted my idea. A week later, as I was imagining, my mother said she gives up living with grandma. But my father interrupted.
You have $10,000 in your bank account. Bring all of them. What?
Then he pulled out drawing and quotation for renovation.
Originally, it costs $30,000 to renovate, but we can downgrade some parts of what area of the house. We can go down to $25,000.
My mother nodded, helplessly listening my father.
I can put another $10,000, not touching Evelyn's wedding money. But that's all I can put. No more than that. We are still $5,000 short.
My mother still nodding, maybe thinking she got give up on it.
Evelyn will put $5,000 for you to help. What? Well, Grandma didn't do anything wrong, and you are in trouble. Anyway, I was saving this money in case we need.
My mother covered her face with both hands, crying and nodding.
Okay, Dad, go for it. Are you really sure that what you want?
I nodded. My mother thanked me 1,000,000 times.
I have been treating you very bad, making you feel you're nothing. I went so low that I spent all money thinking it belongs to you. But you!
She cried aloud and held my hands.
I am so sorry, and thank you really.
Fine, but you must give blessing to my wedding as a mother. Even though there were slight changes in some. House renovations started as planned, and my grandma moved in later. My sister didn't come to parents' house for a while, but she apologized to them anyway. My family's chaotic drama is over now, and my lifelong sibling discrimination is over now.